A moment of brilliance, a moment which has been very familiar to the hammers of the world, is what won this game. Dimitri Payet, with a swish of his left wand, stole the hearts, and I would say definitely sank a few of the hearts of the Romanian fans. What a strike to win the game in the 89th minute. Now, I'm going to get onto the game analysis. I'm going to, I would say, calm some of the analysts that are out there calling out for France's weakness to be sorted instantaneously, but it is a marathon, not a sprint, and I'll explain that in a minute. But let's talk about that goal. Dimitri Payet has been a hero in London this season for West Ham, banging in free kicks left, right and centre with his right foot, and it took a moment of brilliance from him with his left foot, his weaker foot, would you imagine? And we'll leave the link in the description below for the goal, which you can check out. But stick around, because I'm going to have to tell you some things that I don't know if I'm just trying to sing our own praise here at 2IT Sports, but a lot of people jump into conclusions early on in this game, right? And rightly so. Romania started very well. It took I think it was a right place at the right time for Hugo Lloris to stop Romania from taking a shock lead in the early minutes of this game. The ball struck him and was turned away. Clear weaknesses are in France's backline. I understand that. Patrice Evra, he's been around for almost decades playing the world's most beautiful game, but he didn't make it look beautiful today. He is struggling. Easily the worst France player on that team for me. And I think that Rami at the back is a little dodgy as well, having to step in for the injured Varane. He doesn't look as comfortable alongside Koscielny. There was a few laxes in concentration throughout, and I think some communication error between them both, which almost gave away a foul on the edge of the box. But overall, the positives of France first. A team that I have openly said I think could go on and win this competition. Kante and Payet, two Premier League stars this season, and often people allude to the fact that the Premier League quality has dipped and players no longer at that highest quality. Well, you look at the two Premier League stars in this team. You've got Antoine Griezmann, who's a Champions League runner-up, phenomenal season in Atletico Madrid. Went missing at times today. He had the chance to open the scoring for France. His header glanced off the post, and I think that his movement, second to none, it wasn't there for him today. I'm not going to heap criticism on Griezmann. I think he's going to be crucial in this France team going on to potentially obtain that highest prize in this competition, but I think that Kante really showed that this wasn't just a one-season wonder for him at Leicester City. He nullifies space. He suffocates his opponents. And I was actually worried that this France team might have too many workhorses and not enough artists in there. You've got Matuidi who closes down space, and you've got Kante who closes down space, and you've got players in there that are going to nullify the opponent. Pogba at times, I think, does well at closing down space, and he has got those moments of brilliance. But I was wondering who was going to be that I would say, architect that was going to find a way to unlock defences. It was going to find a way to put the ball into the danger areas. And it was Dimitri Payet. He was right there in front of my eyes. The reason that France will, and believe me, I am confident in saying this, will go far in this tournament. He was the man who orchestrated the first goal. Olivier Giroud, who I do criticise at times. He's in the right place at the right time a lot of the time. And you cannot fault his record. I think he scored 8 goals in his last 8 starts for France. But he gets these opportunities given to him regularly, and I'd say 1 in every 3 he'll put in the back of the net. Not a bad goal-scoring record, but what happens if he only gets that one in a game? You really want to be counting on him to put it in the back of the net. So his header glanced wide early on. He had another one that went over the bar. You could see he was frustrated in himself. But credit to him, he consistently put himself into that area, and Dimitri Payet found him to open the scoring, and it was short-lived. Romania heaping on the pressure in France, putting a lot of pressure on that back line that at times was a little shaky trying to play up from the back. And it was eventually that man, Patrice Evra, who I haven't rated at the highest level for many years. And he's done, believe me, he has done well to reignite his career at Juventus. He was fallen by the wayside at Manchester United, and I think he was making rash decisions, harsh tackles that he didn't have to do. And early on in this game, he was caught out a few times. And it was a moment of madness, just an almost immature tackle in the box that could have cost his team 2 vital points. And eventually the ball went into the back of net. Stansu put it into the back of net, sending Lloris the wrong way. Romania, deservedly so, getting himself back into the team. And this is a harsh game. Romania probably did deserve a point from this game. But Dimitri Payet, more than anyone on that park, especially in a France jersey, deserved that moment of brilliance because he was the best player in a France jersey. I have no qualms in saying that. He is so talented. He finds little pockets and he'll pick up the ball and he'll do his best to draw in his fellow French players to try and move the ball a little bit better than they did in the first half. And eventually, he was found by his, I would say, Premier League teammate. Not the same team, obviously we know that. But Kante found him with a nice, cute pass on the edge of the box. One touch on his weaker foot. Bang. You will be lucky to find a better goal than that in the tournament. I wouldn't bet against it. There's a lot of talent on show. But I think that is all that France needed. So let me get to the final point, which is the analysis, right? So I'm watching many of my fellow foes in terms of the analytical department. Of course, many of them are paid more money on bigger platforms. But I just don't get it. There's far too many people heaping on the criticism to France already. Yes, there's clear flaws. But this tournament can either be very short or it can be a long tournament. And it all comes down to that one game. Yes, France, I think, will play the same amount of games either way, but you need to understand what I'm saying. They'll lose this game. Suddenly, they're coming up against Albania. That Wednesday doesn't seem like it. It seems like it's going to come right around the corner because you need to start working things out in the training ground. You don't have a lot of time in general to try and blend together and get that chemistry right, so you're panicking. You've dropped 2 points or even 3 points if things went completely from bad to worse. But then all of a sudden, you have a moment of brilliance. The momentum's lifted. That Wednesday, it's not too bad. A couple of days in between, we'll mix things up. As you can see, they brought in Kingsley Coman, they brought in Martial. Deschamps was willing to take off 2 of his star players, Pogba and Griezmann. Those decisions are needed at times. Do I think they'll be left out in the next game? No, I think he'll just shuffle things a little bit more. He'll have a word with some of the players that are a little bit rash in the tackle. But as I mentioned, this tournament now seems a little bit longer for France. They have given themselves some breathing space, so there's no need to panic. We know that Patrice Evra is susceptible to diving in. So what do? You just have a word with Koscielny to cover in a little bit more. You have a word with Rami to cover in. You maybe even replace him. That's a decision that I would not frown upon if Deschamps made it. But a lot of people are now on this France team. They're never going to win it. Their defence is awful. They're going to get destroyed. Look at the World Cup as an example. How many times did we used to see, by the way, before Germany went on and won it this time, start phenomenally, fly out the blocks, and then they'd fall in the semis or even the quarters. It is a marathon, not a sprint. This tournament for the bigger teams can be very long or very short. France got the 3 points. It's going to be a longer tournament for them now. And I'm not just meaning if they lost, they would have went out. I'm saying they could have still went through, but they had to change things very quick. They only had 2 more games to try and salvage this. Now, they've given themselves some breathing room. I will count on them to go on and beat Albania, and we'll see what happens in the following games. But for the moment, all that matters for the French nationals, for the French fans, for everyone else, is I would say that one of my favourite players ever, Steve McManaman, who played for Real Madrid, comes out and said, all that matters is the 3 points. If this was England, would you be criticising their performance? Or would you be like, thank God, 3 points in the bag, let's take the next game? There's your answer. Hit me in the comment section below. What do you think of the game, the opening to the Euros, one of the most eagerly anticipated tournaments of the year? I'm excited to say I will be covering it as much as humanly possible. You know the hard thing about covering 2 major tournaments is covering 2 major tournaments. So I'll do my best to bring you analysis on both, but stay patient with me. Check out Facebook. There'll be clips over there as well on facebook.com/TOT Sports and on my Twitter @Francis_Maxwell.